It's a quiet afternoon at home. You say something to your parrot. Maybe you greet it when you walk into the room. Hello. And a few seconds later, the parrot says it back. Hello. Most people assume parrots are just copying sounds, like a feathered tape recorder repeating whatever it hears. But behavioural scientists have been studying parrots for decades, and what they've discovered suggests something far more interesting might be happening. Because when parrots talk back, they may not simply be repeating sounds, they might be responding. And the psychology behind why parrots do this reveals something fascinating about how these birds think, learn and communicate. To understand why parrots talk back to humans, we first need to understand something unusual about their biology. Most animals cannot learn new sounds. Dogs bark, cats meow, frogs croak, but these vocalizations are largely hardwired. A parrot is different. Parrots belong to a rare group of animals called vocal learners. Vocal learners have the ability to hear sounds in their environment, memorize them, and reproduce them later. Humans are vocal learners, so are dolphins, certain species of whales, and a small number of birds. But parrots may be among the most skilled vocal learners on Earth. Their brains contain specialised neural pathways that allow them to imitate complex sounds with remarkable precision. This ability originally evolved for communication inside their flocks. Wild parrots live in highly social groups where individuals constantly call to each other across long distances. Each bird must recognise the voices of its flock members, and it must be able to respond. Research from Duke University's Avian Neuroscience Lab, led by Dr. Eric Jarvis, has shown that parrots possess a unique brain structure involved in vocal learning. These structures, called song system pathways, allow parrots to imitate and modify sounds with incredible flexibility. In fact, parrots have additional neural circuits that many other vocal learning birds do not, which may explain why parrots are especially good at mimicking human speech. But vocal learning alone doesn't explain why parrots talk back to us. To understand that, we need to look at how parrots see the humans around them. In the wild, parrots are extremely social animals. They spend most of their lives surrounded by other birds. They eat together, they fly together, they sleep near each other, and they constantly communicate. Flock members call out to one another to stay connected. If one bird calls, another often answers. This back and forth vocal communication helps maintain the group's cohesion. Now imagine what happens when a parrot lives in a human home. The parrot no longer has its original flock. Instead, the humans in the household become its social group. From the bird's perspective, the people it lives with are simply its new flock members, which means when you speak to your parrot, you may be triggering the same instinct that drives parrots to respond to each other in the wild. Behavioural ecologists studying parrot social dynamics have observed that captive parrots frequently treat their owners as flock companions. A study published in the journal Applied Animal Behaviour Science found that parrots often form strong social attachments to human caregivers, showing many of the same bonding behaviours seen between birds in the wild. So when your parrot answers you, it may not be copying you. It may be participating in a social conversation. But here's where things become even more interesting. Some parrots don't just repeat words randomly, they appear to use certain sounds in specific situations. A parrot might say hello when someone enters the room, or goodbye when someone leaves, or call a person's name when it wants attention. This raises an important question. Are parrots simply mimicking sounds they hear often, or are they learning how those sounds relate to events in their environment? One of the most famous experiments exploring this question involved an African grey parrot named Alex. Alex was studied for more than 30 years by psychologist Dr. Irene Pepperberg at Harvard University and later at Brandeis University. During the study, Alex demonstrated the ability to identify objects, colours, shapes, and quantities. At one point, Alex was shown a tray of objects and asked how many were present. He correctly responded with the number. In other tests, Alex used words like want, no, and come here in ways that suggested he understood the context. Which means some parrots may not just repeat human speech, they may be learning what certain words mean. Even when parrots don't fully understand human language, they are extremely good at recognizing patterns, and one pattern quickly becomes obvious in a household. When the parrot makes a sound, humans react. They laugh, they talk to the bird, they look at it, they give it attention. From the parrot's perspective, this creates a powerful learning loop. The bird discovers that certain sounds produce interesting reactions from its flock members, so it repeats those sounds again and again. Over time, the parrot begins using the sounds that produce the strongest response. Animal learning researchers describe this process as operant conditioning. Behaviours that produce rewarding outcomes are more likely to be repeated. In a home environment, attention from humans can act as a very strong reward, which means talking becomes one of the easiest ways for a parrot to engage with its environment. In other words, every time you react to your parrot talking, you may be training it to talk even more. Another factor behind parrot speech is curiosity. Parrots are highly intelligent animals. Many species demonstrate problem-solving abilities comparable to those of young primates. They explore objects, they manipulate toys, they experiment with sounds. For a parrot living inside a human home, the environment is filled with unfamiliar noises. Phones ringing, doors closing, people speaking, televisions playing. A curious parrot naturally begins experimenting with these sounds. Sometimes the bird produces a noise simply because it finds it interesting. Other times, it imitates something it hears frequently. Cognitive research published in Animal Cognition has shown that parrots are capable of complex learning behaviours, including imitation, memory, and flexible problem-solving. These abilities help explain why parrots can learn hundreds of different sounds over their lifetimes, which means when your parrot suddenly repeats a strange sound from somewhere in the house, it may simply be exploring the world the way a curious animal does. When all these pieces come together, a larger picture begins to form. Parrots talk because they evolved to communicate. They talk because they treat their human caretakers as flock members. They talk because certain sounds produce attention, and they talk because they are curious and intelligent animals, but there is another element involved: bonding. For many parrots, vocal interaction becomes part of their relationship with the people around them. Just as wild parrots maintain social bonds through constant calls and responses, captive parrots may use speech to maintain connection with their human companions. In this sense, talking is not just a trick, it is a form of social interaction. Behavioural researchers studying companion parrots often note that birds which receive regular verbal interaction tend to develop larger vocabularies and stronger bonds with their owners, which means when your parrot talks back to you, it might be doing something deeper than simple imitation. It might be engaging with its flock. So the next time your parrot repeats something you said earlier in the day, or calls out to you from across the room, or suddenly answers you with a familiar word, you might not just be hearing mimicry, you might be hearing the echoes of a social instinct that evolved in rainforest flocks thousands of years ago. An instinct that now plays out inside living rooms and kitchens around the world. Your parrot isn't just copying you in its own way, it might be talking to you. If this changed how you see your parrot, subscribe and let me know in the comments. What's the funniest or strangest thing your parrot has ever said? Because some of the stories people share about talking parrots are almost impossible to believe.